has leave again. Now speaking with the candidates of ALC in the respective election to Ondo, a lot of concern and reaction. Mr. Kunle, thanks so much for sparing your evening with us. I understand the feelings you may have, the struggles, the intense campaign, and all of that just yesterday was put to rest. But I will still not shy away from the underlying issues. But let me get your reaction very quickly on the process, the very process of the election.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. We have a situation today where the Ondo State election, the processes are meant to favor just two candidates, and within that two candidates, the ruling class selected, and what they did is to bribe the mass of Ondo State with about 10,000 naira as per voters, and that's the average. You have a situation where in Ondo State, the process is leading to this election. They didn't allow other candidates to even be in the debates. You have a situation whereby none of the parties, including APC and PDP, had over 30% of agents. And on the day of election, other parties discovered that all of APC and PDP in all units were giving the agents tag. These processes show you that the ruling class parties have rigged the election ab initio. At the end of the day, the highest bidder was not given this thing. But as we continue to say that we have laid a template, we have raised the standards, and we have been able to show Ondo State people that this is the answer. It is about having collective wealth and collective welfare. It's a situation where all of Ondo State people, we expect in the next 4 years that most of the industries will be working. Ifon Ceramic, Oktukwaepam, PSC, Oluwa Glass, Ondo Textiles, you have Owena Bank, and a lot of other companies should start working. And we should erase this embarrassment when unemployment is about 28%. We should also make sure that all of the school fees being increased. Akungba Akoko, I expect the governor who are denying it to make sure that Akungba Akoko students are able to enter their portal without paying 200,000 naira. We have a situation where in the Giwa Polytechnic today, you can have a class of about 8 students because most of the students have dropped out. We expect the governor to listen to the voice of the masses and make sure that education gets to the people. So the processes are bad. The processes are not qualitative because except that we had to intervene and show the masses this is the way to go.
Mr. Kunle,
so for us,
Mr. Kunle, let me quickly ask, because we are looking at issues of vote buying, which has, it's not just that of Ondo, the trend started, as long as we really must count on election. But let me ask, if you had the money, would have you also participated in vote buying? Because vote buying is not just to APC. We also saw that even the PDP were also buying. I don't know if your party or you had the money, you would have also decided to buy votes.
No, I will never buy votes. Because whatever you buy, when you get to government, you have to pay. So all of the people that sold their votes don't know the implication. The implication is that if you collect 10,000 naira, you divide it into 4, you get 2,500 naira every year, because the Ondo State ruling class that have stolen your votes will never come back to support you. We never come back to give you free education, free healthcare at all levels. They will never come back to do all of the real manifestos, because the press, people just took 10K from somebody who said he would never make empty promises. A governorship candidate without manifestos, a governorship candidate without direction. His only interest was winning the election. So the people should have seen through that desperation and not collect the money. But we find solace in the fact that over 70% of registered
that was Kunle, one of the candidates in the election, still expressing a concern. Very much outstanding is the issue of vote buying. Almost all the opposition party are really concerned about vote buying. But we understand, just like the winner takes it all. The question and the concern we most often have with the political parties, if they have the capacity to probably also engage with buying votes, would they also participate? That was very clearly that here to get his reaction. Mr. Kunle, if you are back with us, I understand you are so much of engaged with reacting to the situation. But in a whole, how would you rate INEC performance? We've seen issues of our collation centers where Young Africa said some of their staff were not allowed entry. We've seen that, I mean, more than 30,000 police security agencies were mobilized for the election. We've also seen their preparedness, which is stated clearly that they won't repeat the mistakes of that of Edo. Would you rate INEC high in respect to how we can get our elections better?
INEC is still the same old, rotten electoral commission. So, because as you see today, we should be voting online, so that is the best way to stop vote buying. But INEC knows, but they are still interested in the manual ways, because I told you now, one of the bad things that INEC did, from other political parties, they said they gave us our agents tag according to what we registered online. But we also knew that the highest political party that had the agents registered was 30%. And INEC gave us the whole data. But on the day of election, we discovered that all of APC and PDP had their agent tags all over the state. That is one major irregularity that INEC committed. And we also had a situation where, as it is today, INEC failed to do debates, INEC failed to do anything. An electoral commission should be responsible by providing a free, fair, and credible platform. But INEC is not that. So for us, INEC has done purely nothing in terms of improvement. It's still the same old ways, still the same ways of using void votes to make sure other people don't get good votes. It's also the same old ways you get it of this manual rigging. And you find the police, they were great accomplices in terms of the vote buying. They were even the ones securing those who were buying votes. They
did not have the matter. We saw DSS arresting some person earlier because of vote buying. Was that not enough to show that security agencies were totally against this? Mr. Kunle, did you hear me? All right. We'll try as much as possible to speak with him to get some clarification in respect to all of the concern in respect to the Ondo off-cycle election. Mr. Kunle, if you are back with me, I said we saw how DSS and other security agencies tried to apprehend some of those that were engaged with vote buying. Was that not enough to show that security agencies were totally against this?
They were not securing them, they were helping them to run away.
But you saw a video of one of them that was arrested.
The only person that was arrested is because he doesn't belong to the ruling party. So the security agency, if you belong to the ruling party, they will do as if they want to arrest you. They will help you to run away. We exposed a lot of roguery in my hometown. What the security agents did was to help them to run away. So for me, the security agents are fully involved. It is a feast time for them. It is a festival for them to also collect some money.
Well,
so
I mean, it's a very some of the big concerns, allegations, which will prove it beyond that. But let's look at the issue of a low turnout of that election. That those that are having a concern, what may be the reason for the low turnout? Was it because people didn't have transportation to get to polling unit? Was it because of hunger? What was the concern?
Many people were pissed off. Many people boycotted. You know, in Akure here, they had to be knocking people's doors to come and vote. Come and vote and collect 10,000. Come and vote and collect 10,000. They were knocking people's doors all around the states. So the little output they had was knocking people's doors. And in fact, if you are coming to vote and you are not for them, you see them scorning you and talking you and all of that. So it is people getting pissed off. That's why people didn't come out to vote. So for us, we are going to be reaching out for those people that are not voting, that they are only allowing the rogues to sell and buy the votes. So for us, the election is no issue as it is. The only issue there is that we have gotten a lesson from this. We have laid a template and standard, and we are going to continue to engage with the system without compromise.
Thank you so much, Kunle, and for all the struggle. We, of course, the courage to also engage in the system as well is must say very commendable. But moving forward, what is the projection if the governor has? Because I mean, I also listened to when the governor was speaking earlier. He said he will run an inclusive government. So if he calls you for an idea, would you also contribute in respect to building that Ondo state that you wanted?
I don't join rogue governments.
So if the
I
governor
never
extend
see
his hands towards you, you will not join him to build that Ondo state.
I cannot join a rogue government. They were rogues beforehand. And so, for me, a government that used 775 million naira to build a small fence, to rebuild a small fence, a government that spent 10,000 naira, 1 million nothing less than 1 million naira per unit. How can I join such government? I will never.
All right. So if you had won in the elections, would have you extended hands towards all others as running an inclusive government? And what would have you done?
For me, the issue of an inclusive government is a scope. It is, it is because there's no difference between the APC and PDP. That's when they talk about inclusive government, and even the Labour Party, and some of the other parties. So for me, I'm going to run an ideological government, a people's government, instead of an inclusive government of just politicians. No, I'm going to be running a government of the people, by the people, and for the people. So we are going to be running a government based on growth and development. A government that will talk about Enforced Ceramic, that will rebuild all of the 16 companies in the old Owena holdings. A government that will be rebuilding more companies, and a government that will provide massive collective wealth to the state that Ondo State will not be competing with Lagos State. It is the other states that will be competing with Ondo State. And a government that will run free, functional, and qualitative education at all levels, free, functional healthcare at all levels. A government that will run mass housing for the people. There will not be anybody in Ondo State without a house. That's the kind of government we want to run. So we're not going to be running it with the current rotten politicians as inclusive. No. We're going to be running it with revolutionaries and comrades and people of like minds who are the ones who stood with us. That's why I respect the 304 so-called allocated vote to me, and I'm happy that at least they could not deny that people voted for us. If not, they didn't even want us to have 10 votes, with the way they were voiding and rigging and our even small votes to get it. But we do not mind. We keep on agitating, we keep on mobilizing, we keep on organizing. We have learned a lot from this. We have been able to present alternatives, and we have been able to show that we can do it, and that governance and leadership is not rocket science. Thank you.
All right. So what is next for Kunle? Now that because you campaign all those months and all of that, what's next for you politically?
Politically, is to keep building. We want to build a party of 100,000 members. And so that's what we are going to keep on doing. From next week, by next month, we are going to be holding our own party state meeting. And we'll keep building, keep mobilizing.
All right.
We're going to reach out to all of the people that voted for us.
So you are trying to take over Labour Party, PDP, and APC. Is that the movement you are giving ideology?
Yes, because there are really no oppositions. It's still the same 5 and 6. It's just... So for us, we are going to build a real opposition. And
all right, Kunle. We are wishing you all the best, and at least congratulations for also standing at the poll. Because it looks that some of the candidates are dropped, giving back their support to Governor Ayedatiwa. Those are having a concern.
Yes,
that for those of you who stood to the end, it was a fight worth it. Congrats.
The ADC candidate even dropped out, and they are still posting him as the third. Somebody who had already dropped out and supported the governor.
Thank you, Ajayi. Thank you, Ajayi. I wish you all the best ahead of time. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me. Thank you for interviewing me. Thank you so much.
Our lot of elections is always a carnival in respect to democracy, because one of the beauty of democracy is that a time comes where the people have opportunity to elect all the ones to lead. But in the process of getting the elections right, there are always issues, main allegations and concern the political parties' struggles and rigging, ballot snatching. But this time around, the major issue in Ondo State is that of vote buying. And those are having a concern, how would have this been addressed? Probably they are pointing fingers towards economic hardship in the country, which was a major reason and factor for people selling their vote as low as 5,000 naira, 10,000 naira. But the major political parties that went on to the election, how do we begin to pay attention to this? Because it looks at inducing voters, buying vote, is undermining the integrity of election. Election is to be the will totally from assessment of voters through the candidate, knowing the candidate who has the capacity to handle the situation in the state, to manage the resources and the commonwealth of the state in development of the state, and like that of Ondo State. They need to always engage INEC, the umpire, the political parties to continue to build strong institutions that could continue to enhance a proper governance in our country. Is always a role. For tonight, that's the size of our show. I'm Big Talk, looking up forward again. See you tomorrow where we explore all the political matters and concern and the state of the nation and the country. Thank you for staying with us on the program. Bye-bye for now.